What's up guys, welcome back to another Call of Duty Modern Warfare video. In today's video we're going to be talking about more crossplay details that have come out about Modern Warfare. So this includes everything from crossplay to cross progression, as well as playing console versus PC and everything of the sort. So if you guys are excited for Modern Warfare, make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel with notifications on. But let's get right into this. So this came from an interview with Game Informer from Infinity Ward. It came from Infinity Ward's multiplayer designer Joe Issed, and it's this whole hour-long interview about Modern Warfare, and in it they actually talked about new crossplay details. And another thing I do want to point out though is that Infinity Ward actually did release a roadmap, and part of the roadmap they said in between the first week of the beta, so the beta will actually start on Thursday, so the beta will start Thursday and then it'll end Monday, and after that first week of the beta is up, the first weekend where it's PlayStation only, then in between like Monday and Thursday when we have the second weekend of the beta, so next week, just like early in the week, we're going to be getting more crossplay details. And I talked about this a little bit in my my roadmap video, but I think that what they're going to be sharing there is most likely like details on how to add friends through crossplay. So if you have somebody who's playing on Xbox and you're on PlayStation, how you can be able to add them as a friend and invite them to your game, maybe even into like a party together so you guys can talk together, or you know how you can compare stats or whatever, just like more details about that kind of stuff, because that's some information you're probably going to need to know for the second weekend of the beta, since the second weekend of the beta will be have crossplay, so you'll be able to play Xbox to PC, Xbox to PS4, and just anything in between. So this is a little bit different, but we also have had a bunch of news previously about crossplay and all the details about this. This just adds a little bit more. But basically the whole gist of crossplay in Modern Warfare is that you will be able to play Xbox to PS4, Xbox to PC, PC to PS4, PC to Xbox, you know, any combination there. You can be able to play with any other platform, but it is all dependent on your peripherals. So if you're playing mouse and keyboard on PC, you're going to get matched up against other mouse and keyboard players. So if you plug in a mouse and keyboard into your PlayStation, then you're going to get matched up against PC players who are also using mouse and keyboard, or PS4 players using mouse and keyboard, and Xbox players using mouse and keyboard. That's basically how it works. If you're playing with a controller, you're going to get matched up against other people using a controller. So you're not going to have this unfair advantage because somebody has a mouse and keyboard and they're able to be a lot more precise because of the mouse movements, rather than somebody who, you know, they might not be as precise because they're using a controller. Well, that is basically how it's all going to work, is it just comes down to your peripherals, but there is a little bit of leeway here depending on parties and stuff like that, and we're going to go over that in just a second. So from this video, from this interview, a couple bullet points that they talked about is that they will have aim assist for controllers on PC. This was a big thing that the community's been asking about, is that what about, you know, if you want to play, you know, like plug in your controller into your PC, you know, what if you like having the, you know, the more graphical options and stuff and more leeway on PC, but you like using a controller instead of mouse and keyboard? How is that going to work? Because if you don't have aim assist, it's going to be a really tough time going up against PC players. I mean, it's a hard enough time going up against mouse and keyboard players anyways when you're using a controller on PC, but especially if you don't have aim assist. But luckily, you will have aim assist if you have a controller on PC. Next up is that they say that there will be strictly peripheral-based matchmaking at launch, and they say maybe not in the beta because they want to collect data. So they say strictly peripheral-based matchmaking at launch. So that's how it's just going to work, is it's strictly based on peripherals. So it's going to be like, okay, are you using a mouse and keyboard or are you using a controller? That's how it's going to work. Next thing they said is that there is no opt-out for PC controller versus console controller right now. They say it is a possibility due to the FOV advantage. They said the only opt-out they discussed was for console controller players to not play against PC controller players because of the FOV advantage. And that is something that is definitely a concern, because even if, you know, you're both be able to play with a controller and, you know, you both have aim assist, you're still going to have an advantage on PC because you can actually change the FOV, whereas you can't change that on console. And this is like a quote from that Joe Issed says. He says, in regards to being able to completely opt out of crossplay on PC, he says, quote, "We don't know the answer to that question because it'd be pretty much the same experience. The only thing you might get would be some FOV difference there. I would have to check with Paula Hale and see. I'm pretty sure that could be an option we add if there is a problem for players. I think you can opt out by platform, but I'm not sure about that." They did also say that if you're in a party consisting of mouse and keyboard and controller players, so if you're like mixed, then you'll be put into a lobbies with both as well. So say you have two people in your lobby running mouse and keyboard and two people running controllers. Well, now instead of getting matched up against like exclusively like mouse and keyboard players, now you're going to get matched up against other people who are kind of in these mixed lobbies. So I'm sure that could have a little bit of like weirdness to that, because I don't think that there's going to be a lot of people who have a lot of mixed input parties. I think a majority of the crossplay parties are probably going to be between Xbox and PS4. You're going to get people, combining there. But I mean, it's still nice to have the option to party up with PC players as well. But instead of this, so like I said, we knew kind of about this earlier, that about what you were going to get matched up against here. But this is nice that, just because one person in your party is using a mouse and keyboard doesn't mean that your whole lobby is going to be filled with mouse and keyboard players. So like, let's say you're running a 5-man party, one person is running mouse and keyboard, everybody else is running controller. Well, previously we kind of thought that, well, just because that one person uses a mouse and keyboard, you're now going to get matched up into a mouse and keyboard lobby, because mouse and keyboard, mouse and keyboard. So it's kind of unfair to the controller players, but now it's mixed as well. So, I mean, it's up to you. If you really don't want to go, like, have any possibility of being matched up against mouse and keyboard players, then you just have to make sure that nobody in your party is using a mouse and keyboard. Easy as that. Next up is that they say that they're looking into preventing the uses of devices like the XIM on console. So if you guys don't know what an XIM is, it's basically a device that tricks your console into thinking you're using a controller when you're actually using a mouse and keyboard. So it's basically a way to get around a lot of that stuff. And like, these things have been around for a while. You've been able to play games like years and years ago on console, but use a mouse and keyboard. And you sometimes would get banned for that because they'd have ways of picking up on it. But a lot of times there wasn't really a lot of ways to tell. It just kind of looked really funky when somebody was using a mouse and keyboard on console when the game doesn't natively support that. The game only natively supports controllers. It looked kind of funky, but they're saying here that they're going to be looking into preventing the use of that, because what this would allow, if they did allow this or whatever and they weren't preventing this, it'd basically let you use mouse and keyboard while still looking like you're using a controller. So since the game would be like, oh, they're using a controller, but you're actually using a mouse and keyboard, you get matched up against other controller players, but you'd be playing with mouse and keyboard. So if you're good at mouse and keyboard, you could probably smash them pretty easily. And so they're looking into the use of preventing that. So this doesn't say that there will, but they're looking into it. So hopefully that is the case, because that would be really like sucky to be able to play against people like that who kind of abuse this system like that. I mean, there is like a little bit of like leeway back and forth. I know some people are for XIMs, so other people are totally against it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. But the next thing, and the thing I'm personally really excited about, is that they say that cross progression is being worked on, but they say that they haven't nailed it down exactly, and therefore they don't know if they'll have it. So that is kind of disappointing, but I am glad that they say that they're working on it, but I don't know. I want them to have it. They say they don't know if they're actually going to have it. Preferably, what I would really like is if they, even if they can include it in the beta, that's fine, but so long as they can include it at launch, and even if they can't get it right at launch, even if it comes in an update like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a month later, 2 months later, as so long as at some point they put cross progression into the game, it would be an absolute godsend. Because personally, for somebody like me, where I play on multiple platforms, I played Black Ops 4 on Xbox, played it on PS4, and a little bit on PC. It always sucks having to like go through every platform and rank up everyone individually. So like, I'm primarily an Xbox player, right? And whenever a new DLC would come out for Black Ops 4, right? So a new zombies map and multiplayer maps and stuff would come out on PS4. I'd be like, okay, cool. I go and download it and I start playing it on my PS4. But since it's a different account, and it, like, I don't have all my same guns, I don't have all my same ranks and stuff, it just kind of sucks, like, having to leave all my good stuff behind on one platform. Whereas games that do have crossplay, it doesn't matter if you're playing on your phone, you're playing on the Switch, if you're playing on PC or PS4, Xbox One, you just have one unified account across all platforms. And that's how I really want Modern Warfare to be as well. But they say that they're working on it. They don't have it nailed down exactly. My guess is there's probably some weird issues on regarding with like Sony and Microsoft and stuff on the back end about probably how you can actually like transfer stats and stuff in between. I really hope that they nail this down and get it working before launch. I mean, we still have like a month and a half before the game comes out, so hopefully they really can do this. I really want this, but like they said, they're trying, but if they can't get it, then they can't get it. Like, there's no real forcing it there. But next up is they say that if you use a keyboard and mouse, you're going to be playing against other keyboard and mouse players. They say if you use a controller but party with a keyboard and mouse player, you play against keyboard and mouse and other controller players doing the same thing. So kind of just like what we talked about a little bit earlier. So you can now have mixed lobbies as well. So that is basically everything that they shared regarding crossplay, all the new details. And once again, next week we're going to be getting even more details. And like I said, I think that what we're going to be getting next week is more information on stuff like how you add friends in between platforms, how you party up in between platforms, and probably just like a recap of all the crossplay details. Probably like a recap of like kind of what we were saying here about aim assist on controllers and how it's all going to be based on what peripheral you're using. If you're using mouse and keyboard, you're going to get matched up against other mouse and keyboard, controller versus controller. Or if you're playing in a party with mixed, then you're going to get matched up against other people with mixed. So that's probably going to do a big summary of that, as well as release a whole bunch of new details. Once again, like I said, about how you can party up and how you can invite people to a game, how you can add people to your friends lists who are on different platforms and different stuff like that. And hopefully, fingers crossed, they talk about cross progression as well. Maybe they'll have it figured out by then. But I don't know. There you go, guys. Thank you so much for watching. That is all the new details we have about crossplay in Modern Warfare. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this in the comments down below. Are you guys excited? I'm so excited for this, guys. This is going to be really fun. And I guess it'll put an end to that age-old question about whether Xbox players are better than PS4 players, and we're finally going to be able to see, or you get into a lobby, and I mean, it'd be kind of cool if you could tell what platform somebody is playing on, So if you got a full team of Xbox players versus a full team of PlayStation players, and you can find out who's going to win. So also let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think? Who's better, Xbox, PS4, or PC players? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm definitely curious to see where your guys' thoughts are on that. But that is all the information we have today, guys, about crossplay. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Who's your team?
Some old comrades.